the adventure that I have just had. Right. Woo. So, I went looking for Giraffe's house, or yeah, because I was going to give him these glasses. And then on the way there, I bumped into Shiva, the Hindu god of destruction. Right. And she said to me, "Oh, hey, Moogle, it's been a while. What's going on?" And I was just talking to Duncan about you a few days ago. And I said, "Oh, I saw Duncan a couple of days ago." And she was like, "How is he?" And I was like, "Oh, he's dead." And at that point she sort of froze. And a single tear rolled down her face. And then we both cracked up. It was all we could do. We cried in each other's arms for 30 minutes. But that's not important. After that, right, because we were both teary-eyed, we decided to stop into a bar and drown our sorrows, okay? So we stopped into a bar, Liar's Bar, from this Beautiful South song? Yeah, apparently it's a real place. Alright, so we stopped in there, right? And there were literally just there was like all these drunkards there, right? And I think most of them were Russian, on account of them speaking Russian, and dressing Russian, and they looked Russian, and there was like a cipher in the corner of the room. And anyway, me and Shiva, the Hindu god of destruction, we sat down, okay, at the bar, with those little stools, because I know some people prefer sitting at their own table, but I'm an at the bar kind of man. Ever since they started letting me do it, they stopped asking for ID at all my local pubs, which was fucking awesome. Alright. But, right. So, me and Shiva, the Hindu god of destruction, okay, we ordered like 2 sunset sarsaparillas, alright, with vodka and whiskey and brandy. Separate, not mixed together, that would be nasty. Right, so we got all these separate, alright, and now after we drank all of those, okay, right, we started playing a strip drinking game, and I won the first hand, alright, so she took off one piece of clothing, and then she was naked, so I won. Right, so then she said she was going to the toilet, right, to put her clothes back on and, do that woman stuff that women do when they're in the toilet. I don't know, piss, I don't know what women do in the toilet, I don't ask. They got that little plastic thing, and that little foam tube thing. What is that even for? I don't want to know what that's for, but there is one of those. So yeah. Okay, so she heads off into the toilet, right? And while she is in there, right, who walks up to me but Solid Snake? Solid Snake. I don't mean Iroquois Pliskin. I thought it was at first, right? But it was the Solid Snake, and he was like, "Oh my God, Moogle FTW, I was just talking to Duncan about you a few days ago. How is that old guy?" And I was like, "Oh, he's dead." And a single tear rolls down his face. So, the same happened to me. And then we both cracked up. It was all we could do. So we spent a good 30 minutes crying. That doesn't matter. Anyway, so he sat down because now we both wanted to drown our sorrows. He was watching these Russians, that's why he was here, okay? So we said, we should both go and watch Russians, okay? So we left to watch Russians, but we accidentally left Shiva, the Hindu god of destruction, in the bathroom. And when she came out after doing that woman stuff, where she sticks that plastic tube in her boob, right? After she'd done that, she came out, and she was like, "Oh my God!" I could hear her, right? We weren't far away. So she was like, "Oh my God, where did they both go?" So then we boarded a plane, but she had to follow under us. You ever seen Liar? It was like that. Okay, she got in one of those little stair things. So me and Solid Snake were sat in the plane waiting for it to take off, so it could take us to Russia, so we could spy on Russians, right? And then Shiva, the Hindu god of destruction, she starts going past us, and we're just like, "Oh my God, is that Shiva, the Hindu god of destruction? Holy shit, I left her in a bar." And you were like, "You left," and Solid Snake was like, "You left her in a bar? Oh my God!" All right. So eventually she boarded. She sort of melded through the side of the plane. And then we went to Russia. All right. But as we were landing, Shiva had a vision. Right. Before we landed, but before we started descending, she had a vision of the plane crashing alright, and everyone on it dying. And I was like, and then when she woke up, she was like, I just had a vision of the plane crashing and everyone on it dying. And I was like, oh, that's crazy talk, Shiva. The plane ain't gonna crash. This is Russian air. It just doesn't crash. Alright, and Snake mimicked my skepticism. He was like, nah, this ain't gonna crash. This thing's stronger than a Metal Gear. Okay, so... and then she was like, no, this plane's gonna crash, let me off. So she got off, but we hadn't even started descending yet, so she fell to a grisly death. And then we sort of wanted to laugh because of the irony of it, but yeah, we just couldn't. So yeah, and then we landed. We had to go and pick her up, and who should we find lay underneath her? Right, when we picked her up, right. Who should we find but the Prophet Muhammad? Alright? And then we were like, the Prophet Muhammad, what are you doing here underneath Shiva, Hindu god of destruction? Right? And we were like, and he was like, I don't know, she just fell out of the sky on my head. And holy shit, solid steak and Moogle FTW? Wow, I was just talking to Duncan about you a couple of days ago. How is that old spoon? And then we were like, oh, he's dead. And a single tear rolled down the Prophet Muhammad's face. And, well, the same happened to us. I tried to stop it, but it happened again. We all just burst into tears there and then. Cried for a good 30 minutes. So anyway, that's by the by. So we decided that we should all drown our sorrows. So we flew back to England to Liar's Bar, from the beautiful South Strand. Apparently it's a real place. We didn't take Shiva, Hindu god of destruction, with us though, on account of her being dead. So we get back to Liar's Bar, and all the Russians have gone, apart from one. And then we walk up to this one Russian, and he turns around, and we were all like, "What's your name?" And he's like, Pliskin, and I'm like, wait, I know a Pliskin. Hey, I was talking to Duncan a few days ago about a Pliskin. How is that old spoon? And Iroquois Pliskin was like, oh, he's dead. And I was like, oh, I know. And then a single tear rolled down Shiva's cheek in Russia. And it was all we could do, not to fall apart right there. So then we all got pissed and I came back. I forgot your glasses, Giraffe, sorry. And that's what took so long.